Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, days, and gays. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. Hope you're all having a great night, day, weekend, whenever you're checking this out. I have a review for the latest Marvel offering. The first under the. Actually, no, that's not true. But the first show under the Marvel Spotlight banner, which I'll get to in a second, in Echo, which is being show ran by Sydney Freeland. You know Sydney Freeland from directing episodes of Reservation Dogs, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Growing Up, Grey's Anatomy, Fear the Walking Dead, and others. This series stars, of course, Alaqua Cox, who's a newbie. Her first acting debut was in Hawkeye, and let me just get this out of the way. I mean, obviously, sup girl, oh my god, you're gorgeous. This woman's awesome. Holy shit, she is so fucking cool. And the fact that she was born deaf and she is, actually an amputee with a prosthetic leg. The actual physicality that she brings to this role is so fucking cool. And I saw this comment on a YouTube video about the behind the scenes of Echo, which I'm going to get to in a second. But let me just say, as someone who waited years to see someone who looked like them on screen, I'm so happy that that Native Americans are gonna see this show and go, hell yeah! Like I'm like, representation will always feel like pandering to a certain group of people until it becomes common practice. And the fact that we get use of ASL, American Sign Language, throughout this whole fucking show, and it's not treated as a burden. Like, everyone learns this because they care about Maya. Like, I'm really happy the show exists. Let me just get that out of the way. Like, I'm so happy the show exists for that reason alone, and the amount of people who are going to feel seen because of this show, that alone warrants its existence. And everyone who was involved with this show should be incredibly proud of themselves and the work that they went ahead and put out with this 5-episode limited series. So I am going to dance around spoilers for the most part until I get to spoiler section, which is going to involve the mid-credit scene that the show sets up, because that is very spoilery, and I do need to go kind of all in once we get there. So I will give y'all fair warning when I'm going to talk about the mid-credit sequence and all of that. So before I go ahead and dive in here, a couple things as far as housekeeping, as far as Marvel is concerned. If you go on Disney Plus, or have been on there to watch Echo, which, again, you should check this out. What's really interesting is that they actually included the Defender saga into the official Marvel timeline, and so the Netflix shows, as of now, are officially fucking canon. What I do appreciate about the Marvel Spotlight banner, which, by the way, I know I mentioned this earlier. Why not just call it Marvel Max, like you did when you had Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, like when those comics were first launching and they were more TVMA? Or why not call it Marvel Knights? Like, I do hope that Marvel does, like, change that, because Marvel Spotlight, it's a weird. I don't like it. I don't like the name. If you want to keep the stuff kind of separate from the MCU and kind of, put it back in when you want to, I totally get that. DC is doing the same thing with Elseworlds, which is a much better title than Marvel Spotlight, by the way. But just call the shit Marvel Knights. Like, if I could talk to Kevin Feige tomorrow, that'd be one of the first things I'd bring up. Just like, dude, call it Marvel Knights. It's a much better, like, some people are familiar with the brand, at least us nerds are. Like, come on, just call it Marvel Knights. So before I get back to Alaqua Cox, I gotta shout out my boy. I gotta shout out Vincent D'Onofrio, who, my god, Vincent D'Onofrio, it bothers me how good he is. Sorry, good, that's not fair. How fucking amazing he is as Kingpin. I mean, I've talked about him before in several instances, whether, talking about Men in Black as Edgar, The Cell. The Cell's a great fucking movie. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. The Cell rules. Full Metal Jacket, Godfather of Harlem, which, oh my god, if you're not watching Godfather of Harlem, y'all, he's great on there. Magnificent Seven. He's fucking great. He's great in pretty much everything. And I remember when they cast him as Kingpin, I went, oh my god, that's fucking perfect. And even at my peak fandom, I didn't think he'd be as great as he is. Like, he's incredible as Wilson Fisk. And the fact that Feige and company went, oh yeah, we need Kingpin in the MCU. Thank God someone made that decision, because when you see him in Hawkeye, it's such a, oh my god, he's fucking fighting Kate Bishop. Fuck yes. I I love Vincent D'Onofrio. And what I do love about this, so obviously I have to spoil Hawkeye. So if you haven't seen Hawkeye, tough shit, you should have watched it by now. But the end of Hawkeye, of course, ends with Maya shooting Wilson Fisk point blank right in the head. And it's exactly straight up out of the comics, where Fisk has the bandage over his eye, he survives the shot. And what I love about D'Onofrio here is that he definitely plays Kingpin a little softer at first. When he goes ahead and he meets back up with Maya, it's very much, I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad that you tried to kill me. This is what I taught you. This is how, I raised you. And one thing I really dig about this show in particular is that we do get a really cool and a nice in-depth look into Maya's past and why she is the way she is, including some different looks and sequences from Hawkeye set in that time frame, going ahead and catching us up into present time. Episode 1, it's very interesting because there are definitely flashback sequences in there, but then it goes ahead and kind of messes around in present day. But the episode does a really good job of giving you a solid foundation in which to go ahead and kind of springboard into the next 4 episodes. So one thing that this show does a really great job of is adapting that Netflix type style into this show. The violence is it's fucking intense. There are, necks getting snapped. There's lots of blood. I think the violence is actually really well handled. I think what will surprise people is that there's not a ton of action scenes, but the ones you get are fucking delightful. And the series basically starts with one, because we get a flashback to Maya in her infancy as far as working for Fisk. And we get Charlie Cox, we get Daredevil, and we get a Echo versus Daredevil fight scene. And oh my god, it's everything I wanted and more. And it goes ahead and shows off how capable Maya is, pre-deep Fisk training, which, I mean, god, I really do hope we get a rematch of that, because Charlie Cox, that's my boy. I fucking love that man, that beautiful son of a bitch. We, of course, last saw him in She-Hulk, where he was incredible on She-Hulk, and it shows that Daredevil can work in the MCU if you need him to. But him against Maya is such a great fight sequence. And something that I really like that the show does is that there are points where the show will just cut the sound. And so you're having to read the person's lips who are talking, or you're just hearing, very faint noises. And I really like the way the show does that, to go ahead and give you Maya's perspective of just her everyday life. And the way that they do it with the fight sequences in particular is very fucking clever. And it actually added more to the show as I was watching it. So I really appreciate the fact that was clearly a conscious choice that Sidney Freeland and company made, and they crushed it on the fight sequences. And I love the way that they use the sound editing here on this show. Going back to the sound editing real quick, Dave Porter and I hope I'm saying this right, Matto Standing Soldier, they went ahead and they were the composers on Echo. So you know Porter from doing Better Call Saul, The Blacklist, and Breaking Bad, to name a few. And then you know Metal Standing Soldier from Echo, Outer Range, which I heard was actually pretty good on their side. And as I mentioned, there are points where the sound just cuts out, so you can go ahead and see things from Maya's perspective. But the score itself is very drum heavy, very clearly Native American inspired, and that is something that I appreciate so much in the costuming as well, because when you get into the costumes, because Maya does have flashbacks to her ancestors, those flashbacks are super well done, number one. And number two, the attention to detail as far as the tapestries that are shown, the blankets that are shown, the costumes that they're wearing. There's a pair of boots, like these white, like kind of like bejeweled boots that they show, that just the stitching around the actual jewel itself is so detailed. I was sitting there going, God damn. And it's such a beautiful tapestry of so many different things that the show shows you as far as the costumes, that I went, I fucking love this. Like I just from a aesthetic perspective, it's something I really appreciate, but also getting down to the actual time that I'm sure is associated with all these costumes. Like the stuff looks great. And obviously because it's a Disney Plus show, Echo does end up getting her, a new costume by the end of the show, and not spoiling the costume, but the way that costume looks aesthetically, I went, I cannot wait to see you in this costume again. It is fucking perfection. Like it's gorgeous. Oh my god, I can't wait for y'all to get to that part in particular, because you'll go, oh, I see what Hunter's talking about. So to get my biggest gripe just out of the way, out the gate, I feel like this series, I think 6 episodes would have benefited it. This continues a Marvel Studios trend that it's bugging the fuck out of me. Your finale should not be under 50 minutes, especially if you're doing like a 6 episode series. They should not be under like 45 minutes. It's very irritating, because Moon Knight had this problem. The only exception that I'll go, that's fine, is She-Hulk, because that was like a 10 episode series. But outside of Loki and Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think they've all been like under 50 minutes. And Hawkeye too, I believe. But yeah, y'all, like, these episodes need to be 45, and I'm talking post credit. Like these need to be 45 minutes solid. I'm very agitated by that, and I think it actually undercuts your show. With that said, I think for Maya's journey, given where it ends up, I went, you know what, okay, 5 episodes, I actually don't mind that. I could have used another episode, but it wasn't detrimental to my enjoyment personally. I just kind of want another episode to establish more of the family dynamic, because this is definitely more of a Echo versus Kingpin show, which I personally don't mind at all, but I could definitely see people going, I would have liked a little more time with the family to go ahead and establish them a little more. One other thing I did want to bring up in terms of something I liked about the show is I really love the generational trauma aspect, and how that's addressed, and how that's actually tied into Echo's powers. I thought that was actually really well done. And when you look through the cast for Echo, including Alaqua Cox and D'Onofrio, the representation is just beautiful across the board. Cody Lightning, Devery Jacobs, Shask Spencer, Tantu Cardinal, Graham Greene. I mean, so many people who go ahead and give really good performances. I just wish there was more on the bone as far as that aspect, which, that's fixed with one additional episode. But Getting to my final thoughts, I will go talk about the mid credit here in just a second, but I really did enjoy this. My partner and I watched it together, and yeah, we watched it in like an afternoon, and we had a lot of fun with it. When Echo gets her new costume, because of course it's it's a comic book show. Of course she has to get a new outfit. Um, the fucking stitching on that is so fucking gorgeous, and I would actually encourage y'all that when you get to that point, um, take a second and actually pause and look at the costume, because I definitely took a few minutes to analyze it, and it's fucking beautiful. And the actual kind of final fight, how that ties into the mid credit. I'll get there in a second. I don't want to spoil anything, but um, yeah, I really did enjoy this. This is a B minus, B minus for me. Um, in terms of the finale, and I was comparing this between this and Secret Invasion. I definitely did enjoy this more. Alaqua Cox, she really is a star, and I'm so happy for her. So happy for her. Um, but it's pretty cool that we're starting off 2024 with Lily Gladstone, and I believe Reservation Dogs just ended, which I do need to watch. I only seen like an episode or two. I need to sit down and watch that in earnest. But um, really happy for the people having their moment right now. For the indigenous representation. Yeah, go ahead and stand up. I'm really happy for y'all that you have all this content coming out your way right now. But yeah, solid B minus, and I'm really excited to see where Echo goes as a character. They also do a similar thing. This isn't really a spoiler, but they do something in explanation to her name that they do in Miss Marvel, kind of in that same vein that I really like. The origin behind that. So just another little thing that I went, that's cool that you included that. But yeah, B minus. So basically, we find out that Echo has the ability to heal, like her mother did, and oh yeah, spoilers, shit. Spoilers. But she is able to go ahead and heal people, and so she basically, kind of Scarlet, kind of Professor X's it. She goes ahead and basically enters his mind and tells him to go ahead and heal, heal from the hurt, heal from the pain. I really do like the fact that Fisk brings up again how he had to kill his dad in reference to Maya's dad, and the realization that she has about these lies that Fisk has been telling her. But she goes ahead and heals him. He even yells like, "What did you do?" I'm not gonna try and yell that. Plus, I'm recording this like at midnight. But she goes ahead and heals him, and we go ahead and go to the mid-credit scene where he is in his private jet, and he's about to fly back to New York, and he sees this news coverage about how the mayor race is wide open and anyone could win it, and how New York needs someone who's willing to get dirty, someone who's willing to fight for their rights, to fight for the people, to go ahead and be the best mayor that New York can have. And so, for those of you who aren't comic book readers, this is setting up Mayor Fisk, seemingly, which is one of the latest, one of my favorite Daredevil runs, honestly. I mean, that's probably a top 3 story for me, and I'm a big Daredevil fan. But if you are familiar with the comics, basically, Wilson Fisk, after um, uh, a bunch of shit happens in the comics. I don't even want to get into it. It's like Secret Avenger, like a Secret Invasion, basically a political firestorm. It's a bunch of shit that goes down. But basically, New York is in shambles, and it's very vulnerable at the time. And so Fisk goes ahead and runs for mayor. He pulls the sideshow Bob, rigs the election, but he becomes the mayor of New York. And so he starts going after everyone. He starts going after Spider-Man. He goes after Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Daredevil, and it's a fascinating fucking story. I won't spoil the whole arc here, but that feels like that's where we're heading. And if you think back to Daredevil season 3, which again is canon now, that was the direction he was definitely going. So it actually makes sense and furthers the Netflix storyline. And I was just reading a couple hours ago that apparently they are bringing back Foggy Nelson and Karen, which fuck yeah, I'm very happy. It seems like they're going ahead and um, they're just changing a bunch of shit from what was already shot for Daredevil Born Again. So I'm really excited that they realized that what they had wasn't working, and they're going back to drawing board, and they're currently shooting because they showed Vincent D'Onofrio on set. So I'm really happy that looks like Marvel's actually listening and realizing, all right, we got to change some shit up. But yeah, that's what it's setting up. And so what I feel like they're doing, because the Defenders saga is canon now, everything from the Netflix series is canon. It's actually, if you go on Disney Plus right now, it's a part of the official MCU timeline. So John Bernthal is coming back as the Punisher. That's already been confirmed. We know that. Bernthal himself confirmed it. Charlie Cox is obviously back in the fold. D'Onofrio's there. You have you have Alaqua Cox. You have pretty much everyone coming back. So here's what I think is interesting. I think they'll pick up the Bullseye storyline. Um, Bullseye and Kingpin, while they definitely hate each other, there is a relationship there, a business partnership in the comics. I could definitely see that still being something they move forward with. As far as Fisk being cured, I think that's going to bring the Hand back into the fold. That's my get. That's my guess. Um, I didn't mention it because we're in spoilers now. I've said it a couple times, but just to reiterate, we're in spoiler territory now. There is a point in Echo where Fisk is talking to Maya, and he doesn't know how to sign, so he goes ahead and has this tech, like this cover that you put over your pupil, that basically VRs him what he's saying verbally to her, so he doesn't have to learn to actually sign. And they don't say what that tech is. I think that's Hammer tech. I think Justin Hammer is going to be brought back into the fold because if you remember, Hammer tech is referenced in Luke Cage season one. Season one is referenced. So I think that's how you can bring back Justin Hammer into the MCU, and that can go ahead and spin off perfectly into Armor Wars, which we know we're getting a movie of with Don Cheadle. So I think that's exactly what they're going to end up doing, personally. Or those are just a couple swings, but Mayor Fisk is definitely coming. I'm really excited to see where they take the story. But yeah, y'all, that's my review for Echo. What did you think of it? Let us know in the comments. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at jhunterrealpineapple. You can follow me on Blue Sky at realpineapple.bsky.social. Got a question for the show? Just want to say hi, have a review request? Shoot me an email at jhunter@therealpineapple.com. You can follow me on TikTok at jhunterrealpineapple. That's REEL pineapple. And you can follow me on Letterboxd at Black Shazam. And you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/jhunterrealpineapple. January 29th, 4 p.m. It is 4 p.m. Pacific. It is official. I will be making my Twitch debut. I am excited. I am nervous. I am stoked. But we're gonna do some streaming. We're gonna do some game streaming, and but for this first episode, I'm actually gonna do my honorable mentions for my best of and worst of on the 29th. I'll probably follow up with my actual best of maybe on the 30th. I'm still figuring that out. But my first stream for sure is gonna be January 29th, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I look forward to y'all joining me. I'm really excited. I'm nervous, but I'm really excited to start this journey with y'all. But and you can follow the show on YouTube. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. It rate the show. It definitely helps us out. You can find us on YouTube at The Real Pineapple. Just search us there. Again, REEL Pineapple. And then you can go ahead and like, share, rate, subscribe to the show. Find us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneUp, and Samsung Podcasts at The Real Pineapple. Thank you so much for all your support, y'all. I am going to have my best stuff, worst stuff up the weekend of February 2nd. I think that's Super Bowl Sunday, but best of and worst of will both be up on February 4th at the latest. I'm probably gonna, for the first time ever, do a honorable mentions podcast for best of and worst of. My worst of won't be as long, but there's a lot of stuff that I saw this year that I wish could make my best of list that just isn't. So I think I'm gonna, for the first time, do a separate podcast for that. I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna do it this every year, but I do want to talk about some films that just aren't gonna make the cut for me. But everyone, thank you so much for listening. Stay safe, take care of each other. Get your COVID shot, get your booster, get your flu shot if you haven't yet. Over here in Nevada, it's been fucking snowing, so definitely trying to stay warm over here. But stay safe, everyone. Thanks again for your support, and never forget, as always, to keep it real.